My dad was really, really special, and I loved my dad a lot.
I'm proud of him, and that even though he isn't here with us, but he died as a true hero.
I miss everything about him.
In the moment that the officers and I had to come see the children, my biggest reaction was, I don't have 7 arms. I have 7 children who just lost their father, and I don't have 7 arms to wrap around them.
I'm Frank Silla, chairman of the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Our foundation is committed to delivering mortgage-free homes for Gold Star families and fallen first responder families.
To not have to worry financially is a huge peace of mind. The thought of, what in the world will I possibly do to pay the bills? How will I possibly let the children have a life that feels normal? I don't want them to have to quit their piano lessons or their basketball. I don't want them to feel that we have to move into a little apartment and struggle financially in addition to the emotional weight.
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Tunnel to Towers is honoring those heroes that risked their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Those who serve us and then lay down their lives protecting our freedoms and our safety, the least we can do is $11 a month to give them that peace of always knowing there's a home, there's that sanctuary when life feels like it's been tipped upside down, because it has, when you lose a parent in the line of duty, to know you can go home, you can be safe, there's no risk of losing your home. That's a peace of mind that I can't believe you can get for $11 a month.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts.
Please donate $11 a month by calling 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And welcome to another episode of The Cocktail Lounge. I am your hostess with the mostest, Aggie, and with me as always is the ever suave, affable, and quaffable co-host, Brad Slager. How are you doing this evening, Brad?
I'm a little pissed off right now. I'm in the middle of writing a tersely worded email. I was at the Feasterville McDonald's drive-through on Sunday and did not get a Happy Meal toy. I tried to go back. They wouldn't let us in. There was some kind of security breach, some kind of effort. Nobody's allowed in. And I didn't get my toy Crocs with the French fry logo on the. I'm beside myself.
I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Apart from that, I'm in a pretty decent mood for the most part. The media has got me in a snit a little bit before the show here, but other than that, we're all going good. How's everything in Texas?
I think we are finally in the cooling off season. So it's almost as if summer decided, you know what, it's time I started floating myself out to the southern hemisphere. So y'all take care, and fall has decided, hey, I have a couple of weeks to myself here. This is good. So we're in that transition stage.
Yeah, I had a brief teaser of fall the other day where the humidity dipped down to 60. that was
Wow.
for an afternoon.
That's a miracle for Florida.
Yeah, apart from that, though, it's pretty status quo here. And yeah, it's just hockey season's ramping up. We're in the full swing of football season. Well,
Oh yeah, I heard there's two baseball teams left, so the World Series is also going on. East Coast versus West Coast.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Yeah, Dodgers versus the Yankees, I believe. So
Are you kidding me? Really?
I am not kidding.
You need less of a reason to watch. Okay, let's get the two
Well,
most.
actually, it has made my father extremely happy. I cannot tell you how happy my dad is about this because he used to watch the Dodgers when they were still in Brooklyn. And so for him, and once they left, for him it was the Yankees because he was attending the school at Fordham and stuff. And so for him, those two were his teams. And then when the Dodgers left, he was like, well, hell, and he never thought that he would actually see them again, because he's 92. And so for him, it's like, I mean, they've had other World Series and everything, but for him, he's really enjoying this one. It's like it's like he's home type of
Reliving
thing.
his childhood.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he gave up on the Pittsburgh Pirates a long time ago. After Roberto Clemente was, passed away, he was like, yeah, I'm done.
I was going to say that was Clemente's team right there.
Yes. But,
That much I know about baseball.
That's it.
Well, I mean, I back in the day I did, but I mean, I haven't watched baseball in decades, and
I prefer to watch baseball live.
One editor
Yeah.
almost jumped down my throat because she posted a picture of one of the ball players or something like that on the team, and I'm just like, "Oh, is he supposed to be good?" And she like took my head off. She's like, "He's a freaking superstar, all-star." I was like, "Yeah, but he plays baseball." So,
Listen, I understand that some people find it boring, but there is something magical about being at a baseball game. And I cannot explain it. I can't watch it on TV. On TV, it's just like, this is a snooze fest.
I don't know, I've been to plenty of game live.
Maybe it's because I'm Puerto Rican and we kind of co-opted the game, but
that's the thing. It's kind of a law there, isn't it?
yes, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So, but like I said, for me, I go to a baseball game and I feel it's an incredible feeling for me. I cannot express to anyone how it really does go to the root of being American when I'm standing in when I'm at a live baseball game. It's really odd. It's like it just permeates me and it just transcends me into being this what I'm watching America live. It's really weird. I know it's hard to explain. I can't do that with basketball or any other game, that we play here. I football, not even football. Football doesn't give me that, even though football is what we live, eat, breathe, around here.
Right.
It does. I don't feel the same way. But when it comes to baseball, I do. And the thing is, I don't follow the teams. I don't have a favorite baseball team. I have a few favorite players, yes, but they've all retired. I don't know the new ones. So, but still, I go to a baseball game and it doesn't matter if it's a professional one, minor leagues, little league, anything. It's just weird. It's a weird feeling for me. So
you basically are saying going to the stadium is like going to a cathedral.
I wouldn't put it that far, but because I like to yell at the game and not at the cathedral.
No,
So
there's
there's
a little
that.
bit of that with kind of like that with hockey, because I always tell people not give it a chance or anything. So you just got to go see it live one time, and it's a complete.
Oh yes, definitely. Hockey, it has to be watched live. and baseball as well. I can watch anything else pretty much on the TV and be satisfied. But those two I have to be live in order to really appreciate it. I don't become all American when I'm watching hockey, but I do say hoser a lot. So there is that.
We're all Canadian when they're playing hockey now. Hardly. We still appreciate things like freedom and liberty down here. But
I just get this thing for maple syrup and I don't know, and Canadian bacon suddenly when I'm at a hockey game.
No, it's just see, for me, like I used to watch baseball. I used to be an ardent fan back in the day, and then they went on strike and they canceled the World Series that season, and that supremely pissed me
I remember
off.
that
And
really hurt.
yeah,
the
my
brand.
reaction, it wasn't, I wasn't making a conscious decision because everybody kept asking me too. It's like, hey, geez, Brad, what are you going to do? And it's like, I don't know. It's like you don't know how you're going to react when your spouse cheats on you, for instance. You could say certain things, but you don't know it until you actually feel that reaction or heartbreak or whatever it is. And when they came out and made that news conference that they're canceling the World Series, I was like, you guys just killed it. That's done. It was like an emotional reaction for me. It wasn't even,
No, it
burning
was
my jerseys or anything like that. It's like they literally killed my passion right there. And then I started watching football and hockey even more and started playing them. And it was like, it's like baseball just faded away. It was like, it wasn't anything any longer for me. So again, it wasn't, you've lost me as a fan. It was just like, you fuckers. All right, bye.
No, it really did. It hurt the brand a lot, and a lot of people were so disappointed about it that they didn't go back. And I honestly, when that happened, I cannot recall when I have watched a game, MLB game on TV. I certainly have not paid any money to go see it live, but I will go to the minor league team, especially the San Antonio Missions. I love that team, I gotta say. And at the time they were, I believe they were attached to the San Diego Padres, but now they're attached to the Milwaukee Brewers. So, or vice versa. I don't remember. It's been a while. I since moved away, so I can't attend any of the teams. But my brother says, oh, you need to come to Frisco and watch the minor league team here. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's not the same. It's not. So it's not the flying chanclas,
I mean, every so often, like somebody will have tickets or, like, hey, I got a box. We're bringing a party. You want to go? Yeah, okay, whatever. But as far as following, I couldn't tell you a single player on the Marlins right now. And it's not even, I just can't. And as far as, stars in the league or anything like that, barely, maybe. It's whatever I pick up is like if we're at the tavern and there's a game on it, it's like I'll see them talking about games or something. It's like, oh, the Orioles are doing good this year. That's about it. And then it's out. I really have zero interest in it. It's just not even, I'm not militant or anything. It's just like literal apathy at this point.
Well, I know you're not apathetic about college football.
Nope. Rather involved there.
As I live and breathe college football.
Yeah, I mean, even that, I'm not like, oh my God, I have, it's like I don't have everything festooned in orange and green and all that, but I'm just, a standard fan. I enjoy the game, and Saturdays I pretty much just camp out, do some work, watch all the games and such, and just enjoy it. But yeah, hockey's my passion. That's my game. But we had a pretty good week together last week, didn't we?
We did. Our teams both, they did not perform as well as they could have, but they got the win, and that's pretty much all that matters at this point.
Well, coming into the weekend, I was nervous. I thought this could be a good chance for an upset. Miami was favored, I want to say by 7 coming into Saturday. They played in Louisville, and the way they've been playing, and Louisville has a decent offense. It was a road game. I was like, this could be it. This could be the one. And basically the coaching theory these days is let the offense outscore our defense screw-ups. That's about it. And, I even came into it. I said, yeah, our front line is decent in defense. Linebackers, secondary sucks. And prime example on Saturday, we had 3 different players gain 20 yards rushing and 3 different players gain 20 yards or more receiving. They're prone to giving up the big play now. That's just it. And it's just, can we stall them enough to get our offense back on the field so Cam Ward can just light it up? He had another game, 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's just him. He had one play that was so stupid, ridiculous. He evaded 2 sacks where he should have been on his ass, sprints to his left, and just kind of sidearms the ball about 40 yards to the back of the end zone for a touchdown. It was just ridiculous how good that was. And it was a dart too. It was the guy's just ridiculously talented. And thank God we got him, because there's nobody on the other side of the football. But
that's pretty uneven.
Yeah, literally we were 3 points away from a combined score of 100. That tells you anything right there.
Wow. Okay. That's not right. Yeah, ours, ours was kind of weird because we played an unranked team and we struggled a little bit. As I always say, I prefer it when the opposing team scores first, because it has been, I guess, watching the games for Texas A&M, it has, them scoring first kind of gives us an edge, because then we are motivated to, overcome that, and we keep that momentum going. We don't get cocky. We see the possibility that they could outscore us again. So we stay more alert, more focused. So I was not upset that an unranked team actually scored first. But, we did not outscore them the way that they predicted, as opposed to when we, played Mizzou, that it was predicted that they would outscore us and we ran away with that ball. So it was, but interestingly enough, when it came to the defense was actually clicking really, really well. I think Mike Elko is actually doing what he set out to do. He has several tasks, and the very first one, like I said, is to bring back the wrecking crew. And I think he is actually gelling that, and it has been working for Texas A&M pretty well. Now, that said, like I said, we did not cover ourselves in glory, and we did not move up in the rankings, even though we won, and even though we are undefeated in the SEC. Compared to everybody else except for LSU, which is our next team, by the way. So, this coming Saturday, I'm not going to be very happy. I can tell. I just hope it's nothing like that time that we had 7 overtimes with LSU. That was insane. I was like, please, dear God, let somebody just win this so I can go to bed. It was like 1:30 in the morning by the time it finished. But that was not the game that my eyes were going over. I was giving serious side eye to the Texas Georgia game. That was something. Georgia came and they brought a steamroller, But what really upset me, there was a call made, and even, the commentators were saying, yeah, that call should never have been made. That's, the the they did instant replay on it over and over and over again, and we were like, yeah, that call should never have been made. We don't understand why that call was made. But what happened next was what really upset everybody, and that was the spectators, the majority of which were students, but there was some general admission as well and alumni there. They started throwing things out on the field. The first thing that was thrown was a can of beer was thrown, and one of the judges went and picked it up. But because somebody had thrown it, everybody started throwing things, and of course, it was making a mess. And so there was a delay of the game, and the coach went out there, and I got to give him props. He was like, no, don't do this. He's telling everyone to stop throwing things, to just calm down. Everything will be okay. The trainers went out there and started cleaning up before the groundskeepers could even start gathering anything up. I mean, they were really, really quick trying to get the game back on track. And I gotta give the Texas coach some props here, because he saw the severity of the situation, and he was like, yeah, I'm not putting up with this shit. No. And he went out there and told everybody to stop, to calm down, and he's just waving his arms and telling people to back off and to stop and everything. So major
the other
props to
reason
him.
too is they could get penalized for that.
That's right. And that was one of the things that they were trying to avoid, because then they decided to review the call and it was overturned. And so then Georgia got upset. And
that was the part that didn't make sense, though, because the whole thing, it was defensive holding is what the call was. And when you look at the replay, the receiver ran right into the secondary. He wasn't trying to get away and got held. He ran literally face first and effectively was in blocking position. There was no holding is what it comes down to. So, yeah, it was a bad call, but that's not reviewable.
Right. And then they reviewed it, which is why the Georgia coach got upset.
Yeah.
And so he was mad.
Yeah, Kirby is understandably, because you're not really supposed to do that. I mean, just by practice. Those are the standard referee policies, is you just don't, a penalty of that nature is not one you go to video or even confer after you make the call. You can confer ahead of time. Like if one throws the flag and another doesn't, and they get together and decide, no, actually it was not great. But once you have, you move on and you go into the next play, which they were trying to do. And that's when they conferred. Yeah. Normally that doesn't get reversed. So but anyway, the whole game itself was Georgia owned the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Yeah, they did. They
were in Cam Muir's face the whole time. He had a miserable first half, and
I kind of felt
the ball
bad
right down their defensive throat. So,
and I know this is weird for me to say, because I'm an Aggie, and but yeah, I felt bad for UT. I really did, because here they were, the number 1 ranked team, and you expected them to outperform Georgia, or at least be so even that it was going to be really, really tight. But it was like they were lost in the first half. And I mean, that's what it looked like to me. And it was kind of tragic to see. They started clicking back, in the second half, third quarter and everything. But by then the damage was done.
Yeah, it really wasn't close. I mean, the Longhorns were trying to get back into it and fighting back somewhat, but they were never really in it. So, nah, it wasn't the case. But there's all kinds of shakeups going on, and they say right now it's kind of weird, like in the SEC, like you said, you and LSU. By you,
next week.
Only 2 undefeated teams in the SEC, and you're playing each other. Wow.
So that
Vanderbilt used to be a rollover team. Like everybody said, we can take the weekend off. We're playing Vandy. they now have an inside. They're ranked for the first time in like a decade, and they've got an inside track at the conference final now, above Alabama and pretty much anyone else in their division. I mean, everyone else has got 2 losses, it looks like. So, yeah, it's kind of a weird scenario going on. University of Florida is looking like they're trying to play they look like dog crap, but now they're like, we can actually play. Of course, they played Kentucky, who looks like dog urine. So it was kind of, coming or going kind of thing. This was curious though. This is how bad FSU is. They had not just 3 turnovers in the game, and not just 3 turnovers in a row in the game, 3 consecutive plays they turned the ball over.
That's really odd.
You have to almost.
That's almost unheard of. Yeah.
All right, we got the ball back. You want it? Here. It's like, I feel bad. You guys are having so much fun. You take it. It was just it's amazing with that program. But that's the NIL for you. So, yeah, I think you guys got the marquee game of the weekend coming up.
I suppose we do. I know that, I'm not even holding my breath because, it's LSU. And, like I've said before, we have our friendly rivalry and then we have the true rivalry. And I think for us, the true rivalry has always been LSU. I mean, even back in the 80s, they just hated us. So, but I'm kind of excited because the weekend of my birthday, we get to play the Aggies. So it's New Mexico State versus Texas A&M at Kyle Field, and it's the Aggies versus the Aggies, and everybody is wigging out because they think we always think it's cool whenever we play the Aggies. And we have a section out next to Kyle Field where a lot of the tailgating occurs, and for when we're hosting the Aggies, it's all, we take down the maroon color and we just make it all white so that all the Aggies can be Aggies. And it's hilarious. But yeah,
that was the problem this past weekend when you played Mississippi State.
I know. And I was really upset because I was like, Mississippi State has maroon and A&M has maroon. And normally I wear the opposing team colors because I'm a jinx. So I'm trying, and it has worked so far. So yes, I will be wearing LSU colors. But I couldn't wear colors. So maybe that's why it was so difficult for us to win, because I couldn't wear the colors of the opposing team.
Well, it was difficult to watch. I got to tell you that, because if you turn away for a couple of minutes and come back, you're like, wait, which one? Crap. Thank God it was dark helmet and white helmet. But do you guys have alternate jerseys at all?
We have the white and the maroon. There were black jerseys for a time during the I want to say before Jimbo and during Jimbo, but I don't think we're wearing the black jerseys anymore. I haven't seen them anyway.
Well, then the answer there would be no.
Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, they could bring them back for New Mexico State, but black is a basic color and white's a basic color. I have to go with the actual color, which is maroon, and I couldn't do that with Mississippi State. So I don't know if I can do it with New Mexico State because there's a black and maroon too. So who knows?
Miami's got a few, but they're not as bad as Oregon, which has a different uniform every single week. But I think, gosh, what was his name? The coach that was before Jimbo. Jimbo has tarnished my brain so badly that I can't recall anything. But he wanted to do a different uniform for every game. And he was denied that because A, it's an enormous expense for one, and B, Johnny Football had moved on. So, there was no reason to do it. He thought about it too late. But I know that
I know several football teams do that, don't they? They have a different uniform for every game, like style.
No, I think mostly it's Oregon. They're just known for that. Like they have every variation known to man of green, white, and yellow. They have a black on occasion. They sometimes incorporate silver as a neutral color in there as well. But yeah, they are different. However many games they play in a season, they're going to have that many uniforms. It's just the case. And like the Hurricanes are usually white or green, and they'll alternate pants colors. Sometimes they incorporate an orange shirt in there. And then they have the special games where they call it Miami Nights, where they're in all black and they have a neon logo on the helmet. I like the helmet design, but I don't like the uniforms. They don't look right. But the neon logo is cool. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens next week, and hopefully next Tuesday I will be jubilant, but I am not holding my breath.
Don't lose faith. Well, apart from football, I think there was one other story this weekend, and only one. Donald Trump pulled off the ultimate troll, worked the McDonald's, and we watched our press industry in this nation lose their collective mind.
Oh, yeah.
It was just, there were people overreacting on both sides of it. Like, I didn't understand those that were coming out and saying, this was historic. Like, what? What? No. What? And of course, others were saying this is going to turn the tide of the election. He's elected president as a result of this. I was like, can we pump the brakes, please? The guy was tossing Whoppers out a window, but now he's president. Okay, got it. But I mean, it was a funny move. Don't get me wrong. When I saw him wearing the apron, I just couldn't stop laughing for a while. That was just.
He was tossing fries and quarter pounders, not Whoppers. Wrong franchise. I'm just saying.
But I'm thinking, okay, this is a good troll. This is going to get people talking again about
exactly.
But
it was so effective.
Lost their freaking minds over this, which
that's why it was so effective. That's how I know it was effective. The media absolutely they completely lost their minds over this.
And this is the part I love about the guy, because there ain't much, don't get me wrong, but he'll troll the media, and the media will even say, well, he's only doing this to troll the media, and then they follow through with what he intends. So there they are, like barking and moaning the whole Sunday, all day Monday. And it's like, okay, he had two reasons for doing this. Photo op, campaign stop, publicity. The other was to bring up once again the case of Kamala Harris having lied or not lied about working at McDonald's herself. The media did both jobs for him in like bulk order. So I saw his picture incessantly all the way through today at McDonald's. The media wouldn't shut up about this. And they keep, she said she worked there. He has no proof that she never worked there. It's like, so you want him to prove a negative then, is what you're saying. Like, how do you prove she didn't work at McDonald's?
But here's the thing. I have, anybody that can ask me for my CV, anybody in my resume or whatever, there are these little things called W-2s that we all get when we're hired to do a job. You have to put in your Social Security. You have to put in all this. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into this. And all of that, those are records that are kept. Now, the McDonald's may not remember her being there, but the records exist either via the taxes or, through her Social Security number. They're there. This is why, I'm sorry, I'm trying to articulate this as best as I could. Somebody, was talking about how, he keeps lying about Harris not having worked at McDonald's. And I said, the burden of proof is not on him, it's on her. You can't prove a negative, like you said. 2, once that's taken care of, there is paperwork, regardless of what somebody says. Well, her mom said that she worked there. Her mother's passed away. There's no way for the mom to actually say anything. So she can't refute it, and I'm like, but third, if she did work at McDonald's, why was it removed from her website? And nobody will answer that one for me.
Well,
everybody leaves that one untouched. And that to me says more than anything.
Yeah, she's lying about this because in the past, she never mentioned this. Now, there was one job in the Washington Free Beacon. They're the ones that unearthed all this. She did, and this was, years ago, I think well before she was AG. I think it was like a law firm job or something. But on that application, it required your 10-year work history. Did not include that on there. She did include a temp job that she had for like 3 or 4 weeks in an office. So that made it onto her resume, but not this summer that she put herself through college, allegedly. Wasn't in her memoirs. No biography written by others have mentioned this before. It first came up when she last ran for president in 2019. And what cracked me up was the media was like, well, Donald Trump has thrust McDonald's into the political spectrum. Like, no, she did.
She was the one that brought it up. Donald Trump just took advantage of it and decided to troll her with it. And it was masterful. He enjoyed his time there. And that's not the first time that he's done something like this. There was another video of him doing all sorts of jobs at his hotel. He did the bell hopping. He did room service. He did housekeeping. And he enjoyed his time, and it was funny because when he was doing the housekeeping, the young woman, he asked him, so what's next? And she's like, the bathrooms. Oh, no. He's like, no, I don't want to do the bathrooms. He's like, yeah, you have to. And it's like, but I'll show you how we clean the sinks. And so he's cleaning the sink and he's going, I like doing this. This is kind of nice. And he's like, because he is a fastidious type of person. He really is.
He's also a germaphobe.
Yes, extremely. So for him, it was like very relaxing and something really cool to do. And he enjoyed his time doing all of these things with people and, talking with the people as they were checking out of the hotel. He was doing the bellhop thing. And he's like, I'm going to take your bags for you. And the lady's just looking at him like, what? She's like totally stunned. I don't know what to do. And he's with the trolley and the bags, and he has the bags over to, into the trunk of the vehicle. I think she was leaving in a limousine. Imagine that. And he gives her the attaché, and all this stuff and everything. And he had a really good time. It's not the first time that he does something like this. So when he did it for McDonald's, it was to actually do several things at once. And one of them was obviously to troll Harris, about the whole thing. 2, it was to bring attention to the food service industry. And 3, it was to expose how the elites view the food service industry. And he did that masterfully. I was like, I'm reading tweet after tweet or post after post, whichever way you want to put it, of people talking in disparaging terms about that particular job that he was doing.
Well,
and I'm like,
how imbalanced they are about the whole thing. While he's there was one reporter, I forget, who she's with now. She was bragging about how, while he was there, I asked him about minimum wage for fast food workers. And, he gave a non-committal answer to it. And everyone's like, see, he doesn't care about minimum wage workers. Like, you dumb shits. This McDonald's is in Pennsylvania, where the minimum wage is like $7.50, somewhere in that range. They pay like 50% above that at that McDonald's. That's how stupid your question is, because you didn't even research this stuff because you're a journalist and you don't think you have to. They just work on assumptions. Well, it's McDonald's. They work on minimum wage. I know this because I'm a journalist. Dumbasses. But I wrote about this yesterday with this whole event. And most of the time when you see candidates do these things, and it's, go to a restaurant, go to a fast food place. Like look at Kamala Harris and Tim Walz when they just went to a convenience store to buy food. They couldn't even do that naturally. They look like complete buffoons. And it's like, oh, hey, I have Doritos. Oh, those are my favorite, Dougie. Thank you. And there's Tim. They're like, I got it. They always embarrass themselves when they do these dumbass things. I mean, look in the past at other candidates. Mike Dukakis in the tank is like the biggest example of it.
Yeah, that was glorious. It still lives on.
There's John Kerry climbing out of something while wearing the
bodysuit
gear. And it's like every time they do this, it's like, well, there goes his campaign. But when Donald Trump goes to this, you see him having fun. He's commiserating with people. He overcomes that level of embarrassment, even when he's wearing like a $2,000 outfit with a silk tie, and he puts on a plastic smock to make French fries. He looks ridiculous, but he gets it. He pulls it off because he doesn't care about image. He's not like, ooh, this could damage your political career. He doesn't give a rat's ass about the politics. So he can sit there and talk to me. He's like, okay, so you make the fries. I'm going to put more salt on it. You want more salt? Screw it. I'm putting more salt. I like salt. He just takes over, and he gets comfortable in the scene and sells it that way. And he overcomes that pratfall that every single politician falls into. So here they are, they're seeing this, and they're trying desperately to bring him down. And he's just like, you guys are playing a completely different game. I don't care about your rules. And that's, people don't understand that about Donald Trump. Not like I'm Rosetta Stone or anything here, but like when they were going through the second impeachment with him, he was half the time making fun of these people. He's like, this is so stupid. It's never going to get through the Senate. Do whatever you want. Well, Donald Trump is going to be walking around as a twice impeached candidate. That matters to you.
Well, you gotta remember the impeachment of Bill Clinton actually made impeachment seem cool. He wore it like a badge of honor. So
yeah, because they were walking around saying, we beat him, we beat the system. Yeah, that was
and
how they
so now Trump is going, well, okay, it's a badge of honor for me too. No, you can't do that. It's like, oh, watch me.
But I've watched like Adam Schiff and Pelosi and all the others, like, he is going to bear the brunt of this. This is going to be a scar on his career. That doesn't matter to him. This guy's got larger things going on. Granted, he's president of the United States, but you putting a asterisk next to his name on some document is not going to impact him. It impacts you. Oh my gosh, I've been impeached. Okay, well, you sound upset about that, don't you? And there you go. But that's what it is. It's they play by different rules, and he doesn't care. So when he goes to a McDonald's and slings hash for half an hour, Newsweek said, well, we don't really think he was an employee. He didn't even put in a full shift. It's like, did you really think he filled out an application? What?
He wasn't paid either, but he ended up paying for all the food that he was dishing out.
I noticed he didn't have a name tag on either.
Nor did he wear a hairnet. Okay. I mean,
everybody was making a big deal about the fact that, oh, this was staged. Those weren't even real customers. They got screened ahead of time. Oh, you mean at the photo op campaign event meant to generate publicity? That was all staged. Shocker. And yet these are the same journalists that, a month or so ago when Kamala went to Primanti brothers.
Oh yeah, the Primanti brothers. Hey, sorry, y'all need to leave because we're having a photo op.
Now, and again, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, these aren't even real customers. I don't think they're chewing their food. I was more like, okay, this is a setup, right? And
Yeah,
they bust
I'm like-
everybody in. But here's the thing: look at the press coverage. They said Walls and Harris were walking around greeting diners. No, those were all campaign workers. Like, basically, they were rewarding people that worked in the local campaign offices. Like, hey, you want to come meet the two candidates? Come join us on Sunday at 4:00 at this location for a private party. And the press is making it sound like they just popped in off a Greyhound bus. Was like, hey, that's a nice looking place. Let's go talk to some people. How you doing? My name's Kamala. No.
Yeah,
these were all
and
their
that's
people.
not. And the sad part is, even staged like that, it wasn't comfortable. It didn't look like she was having a good time. She didn't look comfortable. The same thing over at the Penzi Spice store.
Yeah.
The woman started crying, and she was, Harris looked like she was commiserating, and she looked,
Oh, honey, don't cry. It's just
concerned.
me. It's like, no, I got
You know,
cayenne pepper in my
and-
eyes. I'm sorry.
and she's like, we're going to be okay. But didn't expound on that. But, it made for a great soundbite because the woman was obviously hysterical. I mean, well, not hysterical, but she was like breaking down. And so this was the way Harris handled it, it looked really good because that part was really unexpected. Nobody expected this woman to start crying and talking about, are we going to be okay and blah, 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 and all that stuff. So that was pretty much the only time I can recall when Harris was actually comfortable enough to look like she actually cared. But every other time that has been a staged type of thing, I mean, every time anything is staged, y'all saw when she was on that supposed town hall hosted by Maria Shriver and with Liz Cheney, it was a wreck. And the interviews that she just did, total wreck. She took the day off today. And I'm like, you are 2 weeks away from the election and you're taking a day off? Really? This is, I don't recall, not even Biden took a day. He took lids, but he never took the day off when he was, back in 2020.
Well, kind of, sort of. He took like 5 days off to prepare for the first debate. Well, I should say only debate that he had with Trump.
Well, yeah, but no, that's in 2024. I'm talking about 2020, back then. So, she's just having a really, really hard time trying to be a woman of the people, but she keeps shutting off certain sections of the people. And
she's just
you have, I mean, look what she did to the Christian, the guy that shouted Jesus is Lord, and she said, you're at the wrong rally. I'm like, no, you should have ignored it. If you don't agree with it, you should have just gone on with something else or just stuck to whatever it was you were right. But what she did was actually put back the spotlight on the Democrat platform, which no longer includes the term God in it. By the way, they completely removed it. So, you have, she's just, the optics that are coming from the Harris campaign are really bad. And I say that, and I'm kind.
That underscores one of her main problems, though, is that she campaigns to her base. She does not give like this broader open tent feel about things.
And that's a problem.
She'll take a stage. She goes to a press conference, or I should say, this town hall, which comically, one of the people in the audience said to Maria Shriver, yeah, I'd like to ask a question. And she's like, oh, we're not doing that. We have designed questions tonight.
Yeah. They're predetermined. What?
Do you not know what a concept of a town hall is?
And that's the problem. Here you have Trump. He goes into the lion's den daily. It seems like every day he chooses a hostile environment and still comes out, making friends. It is amazing to see. When he went into the National Association of Black Journalists, or whatever it's called, and he was like, hey, I came here to answer questions. I'm here, she's not. And people were in the audience were very taken aback with the way he said it. But it was true. He showed up and she didn't. He showed up, he went to Bloomberg.
They said last week, Trump is ducking all of these interviews. He's losing steam.
What are you talking about? He was literally on with Bloomberg, and Bloomberg was trying to pin his ass to something, and he just ran circles around.
He went into that lion's den, and by the end of it all, they were applauding him.
They were applauding him.
He did like 9 events.
Hey, hang on. Point of order. That wasn't just applause. They gave that dude a standing ovation on the way out the door.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like, and it was like and I have friends who are liberal who tend to vote Democrat, and they've said we can't vote for Harris. And I'm like, well, you have other options. Jill Stein is still on the ballot here in Texas, and they're like, no, we may not like him, but we're voting for Trump. And I'm like, are you sure? And I'm not trying to say, I will not go and say, yes, I'm so glad that you are. No, I'm not going to do that. I want them to understand why they're voting, why they chose to cast the vote for him when they don't like him and they don't subscribe to conservatism the way I do, because I don't want him to do it simply because it's a fad thing or he just happened to say something. So I've had conversations with a couple of my liberal leaning friends, and they're like, I cannot afford to have 4 more years of this. And I'm like, if it's an economic thing, then I totally get it. Then I have, on the other hand, I have conservative friends who don't want to vote for Trump because of their one issue, abortion. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it to you in terms that maybe you can understand. Voting for Trump, you're not voting for the pro-abortion. You're voting for somebody who is leaving that to the states. He's content with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and what he personally feels is his stuff. He's not going to tell me what to do. He's not telling the states what to do. But if you vote for Harris, it's going to be codified. And you're going to have abortion all the way up in all 50 states. And that is something that is guaranteed. And they don't see it they never saw it that way. They just thought, well, a Christian man would not, be pro-choice. And I'm like, I'm not voting because he's a Christian man. I'm voting because the alternative is much worse, and it's almost like they don't see the alternative. They just see the one issue. I have and the Never Trump ones that are so vilely against Trump for any reason and will vote for Harris to conservative. They drive me crazy, because I'm like, I ask them, how do you conserve conservatism by voting for the candidate who is taking rights away? I don't understand that. Please help me to understand.
They've been that way since 2016. There's been a couple times I've challenged any of these guys like Max Boot and others. And I said, why are you not promoting conservative candidates? Because that's the whole thing is, we're never Trumpers because we love conservatism so much. It's like, great. Who's your candidate? Joe Biden. What?
Yeah. I'm like, you just don't want to vote for him because you don't like him. End of discussion. You are so invested in the hatred.
In 2018, I want to say it was in the midterms, Max Boot came out and was like, you got to vote Democrat top to bottom on the ticket to send a message to Trump because we have to get conservatism back. It's like, why aren't you pushing conservatives? Well, there are already that's going to defeat him.
Well, he's no longer a Republican. He's not voting Democrat. He even admitted to
Oh yeah,
you know,
he's
switching
also in
parties.
trouble
So
because,
there you go.
his wife is a foreign national that she didn't register. She's in deep trouble, and so was he because he was promoting her crap on his column. Oops.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So
But, I mean, it's like the Lincoln Project assholes, the idiots at the Bulwark. They all do the exact same thing, and it's just Bill Kristol, Jan Rubin. It's just vote Democrat, vote Biden, vote Kamala. It's like conservatism. When is that coming into play ever? Because you're doing hyper left wing promotions here. That's how you know they're all full of crap. You don't see them doing grassroots. Like, we got to get conservatives back at the ground level and get some House seats in there that are truly conservative. And no.
it's just that it's not about conservatism so much as keeping the establishment.
Yeah.
That's what this is
They
about.
want to keep the gears turning. They want to get their grease out of the action. That's all it is. It's posturing. It's bullshit. And that's what I call them on. It's like, if you're truly for conservatism, I'd like to see it because I haven't in years. Sorry. And they even go against conservative candidates, Glenn Youngkin, Ron DeSantis, Rubio. They scorch these guys.
Yeah,
They're
I'm like,
conservative. I'm sorry, but that's exactly what you're calling for. They're there and you're busting their humps.
no, like I said, it's not about conservatism. It's about keeping the establishment, keeping the grift, and just the status quo. That's what they're interested in. But maybe, perhaps, if our candidate wins, maybe he will take to heart some of the lessons that are coming from Argentina.
Well, they've already called him the South American Trump. So
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious because it seems like Milei is just steamrolling in Argentina, and the establishment in Argentina just cannot stand it. He has since decided that it will dissolve its current tax bureau, which was burdened with so much bureaucracy that it was just insane. And it's going to be replaced with a more streamlined agency, which will, both be overseeing the tax collection and the customs monitoring of customs. But what makes this beautiful is because it's being streamlined, they're cutting 34% of the jobs. That's over 3,000 agents that will be losing their jobs because of this. And it's not the only thing that he's doing.
And that's called a good start.
Yeah, it's a good start. Exactly. And it turns out that a lot of these bureaucrats were what they term irregular hired, which means that they probably had a friend or a relative and they needed a job. So the relative or friend decided to make this position for this person so that they would have a job, but they never did anything. That kind of job. Okay. So of course the union is like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose it. We're going to be fighting this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you don't understand. Argentinians also hate the, income tax. Everybody hates the revenue services in their countries. I mean, there is no love for anyone who collects taxes in any country that I know. So this is, this announcement came and everybody loved it. They were like, yay. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, it turns out that some of the senior officials in this tax bureau were actually making more money than the cabinet members were making. And the cabinet members are like the highest paid in the government. You have your hierarchical structure of, as you go down, your paycheck is lower and lower and lower. Well, the cabinet members are next to basically the president and, the vice president, those people. So to have senior officials whose only job is to oversee the collection of taxes make more money than even the president himself, that was kind of a big red flag. So a lot of the jobs that are going away are these particular jobs. And then any of the seniors that are still left, their income is going to be lowered. Yeah, he said, yeah, you can't make as much as cabinet member, not for what you're doing. You're literally sitting at a desk.
This is literally the way it's done. And this is the thing that you could tell who to get rid of by them shrieking about this.
Yeah, the ones that yell the louder are the ones that, have been grifting the longest. And they're,
we
there
just
are
saw
some
this last week here. Politico put out a piece, and it was like a weepy kind of, oh my gosh, for these poor people, that there's scores of workers in Washington, D.C. that are polishing up their resumes on the off chance that Donald Trump wins the election because they fear they'll be out of work. And I think most people read that article and responded with, okay, I'm already voting for him. I can't vote enough. Like, we're supposed to feel sorry for these poor government workers. Oh, no. The federal government is one of the biggest employers in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And they're unionized. That makes no sense to me.
No.
And, it's like, oh, you got to unionize to go fight your boss. It's like the government that's overpaying you already. I mean, what is going on? And here's Joe Biden. I'm going to hire 80,000 new tax workers. Yeah. And he couldn't figure out why people are like, the f are you doing, man? And there's the media defending the decision. Well, you people just don't understand.
No, I completely understand.
These people are so overworked, and some of them, it's the IRS. I am not feeling sorry for anybody in that. I'm not feeling sorry for the guy that pours coffee for them in the break room, okay? It's the IRS.
There's no coffee guy in the break room. They have one of those nasty-ass machines. You know it.
One of those commie Keurig machines?
No, I'm talking about the ones that spit out the powdered coffee. You put in like $1, you get worst coffee ever.
Oh, yeah, that.
Folgers Crystals. But it's the ones that cry about that crack me up. And our government is so freaking bloated. They probably have so many jobs where people are doing redundancies that nobody notices. Remember, we had that one gig we talked about a month or so ago. The guy had quit years ago and had been collecting a paycheck the whole time because the two departments thought he worked for the other.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It just sums up government right there. It's like, you can't get rid of these people. Why? Because they won't be here. And that's the best answer you can get. It's like, he sits in the chair. Though.
Here's my question. I mean, if, we need so many agents, in order to process, then why do we have electronic filing? Yeah. I have the choice of either doing it online myself, or I can go to an accountant who does it for me. I pay him or her, and they file it away. And then 6 weeks later, I get direct deposit. And I'm like, who, and I asked one of the ladies at H&R Block, who happens to also volunteer time at the Civic Arts Center here. I asked her, it's like, when you file something for someone and it goes into the cyberspace over there in IRS, what then happens? And she says, it is completely processed. And I said, is it processed by somebody? She says, no, it's all electronic. And I'm like, okay, so why do we have so many IRS agents? And she says, your guess is as good as mine. So why did they need 80,000?
Well, I loved it too when he makes that move, and everybody was saying, "Oh, great, we're all going to start getting audited." They're like, "No. We're just going after the billionaires. We don't
No.
have 80,000 billionaires in this country. I'm pretty sure."
No, that was something that I asked her. I mean, I live in a very small community, and I asked her if auditing actually went up in the past 4 years. And she said, that's weird that you should bring that up, because for the longest time, and she's been working for H&R Block, she's about to retire. So she's been working there for about 25 years. And she said, maybe 2 a year. And she said, last year she had 12. The year before that, she had 8. That she had, that they had to do an audit for. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah. So I don't know why. And the thing was, everything was above, everything was normal and everything. And so one of the things that she has suggested, and yes, it does cost more apparently, but you can get protection in case you get audited. The H&R Block will actually take care of that for you. You pay like $25 or something for that protection. But she said after 2020, almost everybody that she prepared the taxes for asked for that. They said, yeah, tack it on. And I was like, holy crap. It's like, yeah, a lot of people got scared because they thought, well, we're going to get audited, with all these agents and all this stuff, I live in a very red area. So that was a concern. And she said almost everybody that she helped to process their taxes for requested the protection from H&R Block in case they got audited. It's peace of mind, I think it's called. So it may be a racket, but it was peace of mind for a lot of people.
Well, turning our attention, we were talking fast food. This is a pretty forced segue Latin here.
Yeah, you suck at segues. I'm going to pay for that later. It's the margarita. It's the margarita talk.
She's throwing more lead than was thrown at that Missouri range today. I'm just saying.
Oh, it would only be hurtful if I listened. So you
did not.
Couple of our multinational soft drink conglomerates had some issues this year. Coca-Cola had to recall thousands of cases of Minute Maid sugar-free lemonade. And this followed suit where Pepsi had to do a similar thing with the Dad's Root Beer brand and its sugar-free version of that. It turned out both of them had a crap ton of sugar.
What? How did, okay.
They said the lemonade that went out was measured to have enough sugar to be on par with a McDonald's McFlurry. Oops. So that happened. I don't know if it was a labeling mistake or such, but it's like you can't trust anybody anymore. I just find it amusing that both of the major soft drink makers had the exact same problem this year. I don't understand who. I hope somebody lost jobs. That's all I'm saying. Sons of bitches. But you know what? I have a solution. I'm here to help. I'm Mr. Upbeat. I'd rather, instead of cursing somebody's darkness, light a candle. That's my lot in life. All they got to do is go out and get an AI tongue.
Oh, what?
That's right. Move over, taste testers. There's a new contender in the world of flavor evaluation, and it's made out of circuits and sensors. Researchers from Penn State University have developed an electronic tongue that identifies differences in various liquids.
When
So
will we learn?
it can measure, say, the sweetness component of a particular fluid. It also can gauge the water content in milk, even to the point of ascertaining how close it might be to expiration or such. They're saying it can even distinguish between Pepsi and Coke with a high degree of accuracy. They got a computer that can take the Pepsi challenge.
I can't. I'm sorry. I've seen the movie. It ends really bad. Okay. So I don't want, just because we can doesn't mean that we should. You know, that whole Jurassic Park thing. Yeah, that's coming back.
This becomes a theme on our show, it seems like, on
Mm-hmm.
new category. Crap scientists should stop doing tomorrow.
I mean,
last week they're creating hybrid dinosaur animals that have been extinct for 10 million years. Stop it. It's for a reason. You know, what if we make an alligator and a catfish animal together? What do you think will happen? I have no idea. Let's do it. You know, that's the kind of thinking going on in these universities. Now they've created an AI tongue. So one day we can actually have a robot that can throw food in your face.
you know,
I'm sorry, this is undercooked. This beef stroganoff was made with fat-free milk in its sauce. I hate it. And then Skynet is called in, and
I'm just saying, none of these, I just don't see this. I don't see the value to it. I mean, I get why people are incentivized to actually go out and try and do these things with robots. I get it. But there's a point where the curiosity overrides the I guess that the safety, switch. And I'm like, somebody's gonna do something, and it's just gonna be like, the moon is gonna crack, the whole earth is gonna shift, we're all gonna die. I swear to God, it's just coming.
I mean,
we can no longer rely on that bitch SMOD to take us out. I'm looking over at the super volcano every day going, are you with us or not?
But they're like trying to sell this as, well, this could be so helpful because of food spoilage, because corrective actions need to exist for food adulteration and contamination, and therefore monitoring the freshness is. I've got a nose, okay? I can tell if the milk is expired.
But that's just it. We can tell, if milk has turned bad. We can tell when food has mold or slime or spores or anything of that nature. It's not like I just don't understand. I don't understand. I don't know. Like I said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Save the money for
Russia. You're worried about pissing off Putin or something. It's like, dip the wand in your food first and just hang on a second. If the robot keels over, we're in trouble. So let's just give him a couple seconds here. Apart from that, I think we're fine. Let's pump the brakes on this, maybe. Just.
Well, I don't know. All I know is that I'm way too old-fashioned for this shit. I don't have it in me.
Well, you used to live in Germany, correct?
Yes.
How's that for a segue?
That's I'm pretty broken, but go ahead.
Well,
the hell does that have to do with robots?
Absolutely nothing. That's why it's a segue.
Okay.
Given that you're Puerto Rican, I might need you to pronounce this name of this city. It's Stadtallendorf. This is the way it's spelled. How would you say that in your German accent?
Stadtallendorf.
Wow, look at you. So they had an incident take place in this.
What happened?
Building caught fire, massive one. Called in 170 firefighters, in fact, 170 in order to battle this blaze. Local volunteer fire brigade was even brought in. Flames as tall as 10 meters leapt from the station's roof. That's 30 feet to you and me. I mean, this is pretty major. It was the fire station.
Okay.
The fire station. This is a brand new building, by the way. Barely been up a year. Supposedly state of the art, they're saying.
I understand. It is, believe it or not, there is no legal requirement to have a fire alarm in this building.
They didn't have fire alarms inside the fire station. I'm going to say that again. State-of-the-art fire station in Western Germany, built last year, tens of millions of euros. It's burned down to rubble now because it didn't have fire alarms.
And believe it or not, it comes down to taxes on a building. I figured it out. It's because of the taxes on a building. You have to look for loopholes. I've explained how it is that German houses have no closets because a closet counts as a room and you're taxed on the amount of rooms you have in your home. That's why they have trunks instead with, wardrobes. This building, you told me it was classified as a building that was holding equipment. It wasn't classified as a fire station. And if a building is just holding equipment, it doesn't need a fire alarm. Now, a building that has bathrooms, a building that has sleeping quarters, overnight sleeping quarters for people who are firemen, firefighters, that does require fire alarms. When I was in Germany, my neighbor didn't have fire alarms in her home because she had equipment to fight fire. So fire alarms are something that is also taxed. Everything is taxed in Germany, y'all. Everything. I bet you anything they tax the amount of flower bulbs you have in your garden. I wouldn't put it past them. But because she had fire safety equipment throughout her home, she didn't have to have the fire alarms. The reason this building didn't have fire alarms was because it wasn't classified as a fire station. It was classified like a warehouse, a building that just had equipment in it. Warehouses normally don't have fire alarms. They don't have to have them. And this is, I just can't, the irony burns literally and figuratively here.
I mean, when you've got 170 firefighters battling a blaze, that's significant.
That is an impressive blaze. That's impressive, because, most small towns in Germany have a little fire department, and it's not very big, but they all communicate with each other. And if there's a blaze that the fire department cannot contain, other fire departments will go, excuse me, and help put out the place. I saw it happen when I lived in Würzburg. There was a small town, whose name escapes me, but I think like 25 people lived there, or at least it seemed like it. And there was a fire, and Würzburg dispatched its, fire department to it, as well as 2 other towns to help it. So, they do have a good communication system. It's just that I'm pretty sure that this was just a way to save money on taxes again.
But how does the government think it's a good idea to tax fire alarms? It just seems as counterintuitive as it gets. And granted, I just said government, there's your answer, but still.
The thing is, the taxes on a building that has bathrooms and living quarters and all that stuff is much higher than taxes on a building that just has equipment. And I think that's why this building was given that designation, because it was a very pricey building.
Mm-hmm.
So with a pricey building comes a pricey tax.
I mean, they lost 10 fire engines in the blaze. So,
I mean, it's just I feel bad, but in a way, this is as a result of that government bureaucracy. I mean, they would literally. I'm pretty sure it was just a way to save the city taxes.
but
From,
somewhere
from
along
the
the line,
federal taxes.
governments have to come to the realization that taxes are not just a disincentive, but they drive away. It was Norway just recently reported, they were going to do the Kamala Harris plan where they're going to go after the billionaires. They're going to soak them. And they figured, I don't know, they were going to raise, by raising the taxes on them, it was going to come to like 150 million or something like whatever the astronomical figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next tax year, they came in 350 short because the billionaires were like, F this, I'm out of here. Moved out of the country.
I think it's funny that they're trying to rebuild a temporary fire station. That's my understanding. But they still have to have a discussion on whether or not to put fire alarms in it.
I would move out of that city just out of the safety.
But like I said, this is a problem because the building belonged to the municipality, not the state. So the municipality, in order possibly to avoid paying hefty taxes to the state, and I think the state I think it's in Hesse. That's why it was classified the way it was. So now they're going to review this legislation completely. And I'm like, dude, if you're building a new firehouse, I don't even discuss whether or not to put fire alarms in it. I would put one every 5 meters. I'm not even joking. Every 5 meters, put a fire alarm.
I don't know how to translate sprinkler system to German, but
and that's another thing. Most of these buildings, municipal buildings, government buildings, of which this was one, do have that requirement. So I don't understand what went wrong here.
We could probably do a whole show on what went wrong here. But that'll have to be
possibly
next week, as we have to cut out of here now. We're almost at the top of our hour.
Yep. So Brad, because you have so much to say, why don't you go first and tell us where we can find you?
Oh my God, you got more.
I do not.
I am available on a daily basis over at townhall.com, where I have my media column on a day-to-day basis. They're called Rift from the Headlines, also on the front page of Red State, where I've got my twice weekly podcast called Liable Sources, diving deeper into the mire of the mainstream media. And you can hear more of me on this very network. Thursday night, I'm going to be here with Paul Young from ScreenRant.com as we go through the dark side of Hollywood and bad movies on Disasters in the Making. We have a very, very special guest that's going to be on with us this week. Don't ask me who, because the son of a bitch co-host of mine refuses to tell me.
What? No.
That's very special, though. I'm told it's very special, and I can't tell you who it is. He keeps saying that. He even said yesterday, it's confirmed they're going to be on. Great. Who? Can't tell you. You son of